Hi, this is Terry Owens with Phillips Menswear. And we find that a lot of our clients are very interested in what goes on behind the scenes in menswear. So we thought it'd be real helpful to have somebody come in and let you know what it's like on the buying side. So we've invited Andy Paulson from Dion Neckwear to join us today and talk about the process of buying neckwear. Andy, I know that silk starts in China, but after China, what happens to the silk before we get a tie like this, for instance?
All right, well, yes, all raw silk comes from China.
Okay.
And we ship it to Italy because they have always been the best at producing tie silks.
Okay.
As the raw goods get to Italy, they're either woven into gray goods, which are dyed, and then patterns are printed on those, or they're woven into threads and dyed, and then those dyed threads get again woven into the tie to get the pattern and the colors in the ties.
Okay.
And they have always been just the very best people at doing this.
Yeah, so in terms of the artisanship and the craftsmanship, the coloration, all those things that people see with neckwear, Italy is the best choice for that.
That's correct,
okay.
Because when that process is done, they ship us a roll of fabric which is finished just as you see it in the tie.
Okay, so hundreds of yards of fabric like that come from Italy to where is the actual finishing done?
Right outside of our Toronto, Canada.
Okay.
We have our plant. When we get our piece goods in, that's where we make the final tie.
Okay.
And there's some very important things that we feel are necessary if you have a premium tie.
Like Dion obviously is.
Correct. When you cut the goods, we cut the goods on the bias.
Okay.
The bias allows the fabric to lay flat.
Okay.
Your tie is not curling, it's laying flat on you. It's not doing this. It's not trying to turn and get back into its shape.
Okay.
That's why you do that, but it's also more costly to do that.
Okay.
Is when you cut across that bolt to make your ties, if you cut off the bias, you can get 3 ties. If you cut on the bias, you can only get 2. So therefore, you have a higher fabric cost.
Yeah, it's a more costly process, sure.
Right. Now, the second thing that we do that's real important, we only use silk and wool linings.
Okay.
They made up with the outside fabric best, and they also have memory. So as you tie your tie each time, that same knot, that same look will be there.
Okay.
And it also, when you hang your tie up, relaxes and lets the tie return to its shape.
Okay.
As does the slip stitch that goes through the tie.
Okay.
Ties are made inside out, and one continuous thread holds the lining to the outer fabric. Again, very important, so that the tie can move on that slip stitch, and when you take it off, can hang out and be just as fresh as new.
Okay, so those are quality things that people don't necessarily see. But I think you mentioned that there's actually more cost and quality components inside the tie than there are outside the tie.
Correct.
Okay.
There is more cost.
Okay.
Yes.
So the silk went from China to Italy, from Italy to Canada, and now from Canada it's got to get into the store here at Phillips Menswear. What is that process like?
Well, you and I arranged to meet.
Okay.
And we sample our piece goods onto cards that you make your selections from. Gives you your color and pattern variations, and then you pick out the best that you feel for your store and your customers.
And I got to tell you that for us in this business, the most creative, the most fun part of the business is actually selecting neckwear, because that is really the place where a man expresses himself. So, Andy, I'd like to thank you for making the time to come in and talk about this with our folks.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Yeah.